Hello and welcome back to Better Minecraft. Now you'll see some shulker boxes behind me. We'll get to that in a second. Last episode we went to the B dimension. So that wraps up all the dimensions I can go to besides the other side, which requires me to kill a warden in order to get there. And I have never once even attempted to fight a warden. I've been around one. I've seen one. Terrified me, but I've been around one. I know what they look like. I know all of that stuff. It's just I don't see myself fighting one of those and surviving. Okay, I had issues with the bees. We are not going to try to fight a warden, at least not right now. Eventually I'll consider myself too OP and I'll end up going down there to humble myself, but for the time being I have a whole bunch of wool and like one pumpkin that I found over here. But I actually want to plot this area out, because if you remember a long time ago, I talked about our entire village spanning this little peninsula here. So, now that I have wings and I have the ability to see the entire thing, I want to start plotting this area out. I kind of want to widen this canal down here. So, taking this out and widening this out. And maybe even one day making like an expansion to this. But for the time being, we're just going to expand this village over to here. And into all of this. But we are starting here. Oh, had a bit of lag right there. But we're starting here. And I'm just going to start plotting points. This is mainly just a planning stage for me, because this is going to be one of the bigger projects I've worked on. And the first time I've had like this much wool to work with to put in different ideas. I'm essentially doing the, if you've seen Flip's videos, you know that he will typically take like a flat like picture of his world and draw it in. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that in game with wool instead and just plot point things. Just kind of like the older way of doing things. But I think I'm going to start with yellow, because I want to start here. Of course, we have to start with our entrance into the area. So, of course, we have this pathway. And these pathways eventually are going to change. I think my next goal before I start this project is going to be transferring these paths to be the type of paths I want over here. So, of course, it's going to have to come over here. A little bit of a step up area, like make this a higher up dock level. So of course have this kind of framed the same way. Just to get us up to like this level, which of course I'm probably going to end up carving this space back a little bit more. So we're mainly going up to this level here. Kind of mark that. Okay. So now we have the yellow path going through here. That symbolizes kind of where I want a staircase to go on this. So that just starts our pathway into this area. And eventually this is all going to come here. So the pathway is going to continue about through here. So this is eventually going to come through here. And then attach there. Okay, so that kind of marks that area out. So that kind of tells me the area I'm working with back here. So maybe do... Definitely gonna be some market stalls up here. Maybe do another market here. Okay, kind of a huge amalgamation of wool. But the magenta wool I'm going to be using for smaller, more decorative build items. The gray is more like structural items. Both the grays are going to be more structural. So they're going to be like walls, maybe terraforming pieces, stuff like that. And then, of course, the yellows are going to be my pathing. just to help us kind of get laid out for everything that's kind of going to be happening in this area. So of course we're going to be continuing like this whole dock layout. Everything that I have over here on this dock, so the banisters, the light post, all of that is going to be copied onto this piece here. Of course I'm going to figure out actual sizing and everything once I get started on actually building it. But visualizing it is kind of helping with the kind of rut I'm in. I've gotten to the point in the game where there's no longer really that much of a challenge. Everything I can get with relative ease. So most everything else is going to be me trying to challenge myself. So the buildings are probably going to get more intensive than the ones that are behind me. They're going to get more hyper detailed. Everything else is going to be me trying to challenge myself as far as building so that I can continue this world and hopefully get all of these challenges finished at one point. My goal mainly with this thing is to finish all these challenges as I can. And when it comes to bosses, I have never once found a mammoth or a desert rhino. Or a night lich for that matter. The Void Blossom, I know where like 4 of these are. So whenever I get up to the point where I want to take on a Void Blossom, I can. That's going to be an episode all on its own. The Void Blossom has so much health. I tried in a creative world with like the highest damage weapon I could feasibly get, and it still took me like 20 minutes to kill it in creative. So that's going to be a video all on its own. So I decided that after the whole incident with the B dimension last time, I'm just going to chill for a little bit. Okay, but of course all of this has to be terraformed. Where's my green? Green I want to use as like actual greenery. So I want there to be a reason the path is going this way instead of just straight this way. So I think we're going to put like a tree of some sort here. Maybe integrate the palm trees and grow one of them over here. And maybe another one over here. Just to help the area make a bit more sense as to why it curves that way. Instead of just going straight from here, just to straight into the corner of this. And maybe do another one here. Just to kind of bring back in the nature effect of everything. Because I have cut down quite a few of these palm trees. And I think as far as the palm tree variants, I think I'm going to use these guys. These are actually, I think, coconut trees. Yeah. These are the coconut trees. I think I'm going to use these instead because they have that effect I'm looking for. They have the larger leaves. As opposed to these, which are smaller leaf variants and things of that nature. I want the palm trees to look distinguishedly different. I think we're going to go distinguishing based on what type of structure I'm wanting to build. I know right kind of on the edge of this guy, I want to start doing but a sugarcane farm. So I think we'll go with lime for that. And I'm going to have to re-look up the actual like sizing for those. Okay, and that's the first building marked out. So we have a few projects here. The real question is, how do I want to do this bay area? I know I'm going to end up carving the sand out of that area. The sand bank on this one is probably going to be carved back a good bit, and it's probably going to just have a very small sandy beach over here instead of all of this. So the trees over there are probably going to go, and I'm just going to carve it back. But the one over here is definitely staying. Thing is what do I want to do with it all? Probably actually build this space up until we get over here. Because down this way, this bay right here is kind of where I was planning on having like the official dock where all the bigger ships were going to go. Of course, most of the like lower coarse sand is going to be replaced with planks. because we would need deeper areas in order for the ships to get through. So it's going to be mainly built with that in mind. Okay, and that, of course, there's a ravine right there, so I don't want to use too much of my wool. I only got like 36 of it left. So I don't want to use too much of that, but that is kind of where the dock is going to end up being. So that kind of gives me an input as to where I need to trim it down, what I need to build up. And of course, we're going to fill in most of this, because there's one other thing that I'm wanting to kind of plot out where it's going to go, and that's going to be the lighthouse. Okay, a lighthouse, and then I do still have a bit of the yellow, but I'm going to have like a little path coming off the lighthouse this way, kind of along the water. And then eventually there's going to be a pathway up this mountain that's right here. And the actual housing structure for the person that is here is going to be on this little ridge overlooking kind of the water area back here. There we go. So we have a little path and then the actual housing structure for the caretaker of the lighthouse. A lot of lighthouses have somebody who actually takes care of the lighthouse itself. Now, this may not be the finished size of the lighthouse. I may go a bit bigger on the circle, and this may be the finished size up towards like the middle and the top. Because a lot of towers that you'll see actually start out really massive at the bottom and then get smaller when they get towards the center and then get bigger again up towards the top. So this is a debatable size. I know this is where I want the middle to be. Not sure if that's going to be the full size of the actual tower itself. Oh, and it's night. Nap time. Face plant straight into a wall. I'm an expert flyer. Okay. I have like a little bit of a path coming off the house. And I'm doing a little bit of that. Take this out. Oh, I have dirt. Okay, there we go. And then do a little bit of the vinery thing, maybe up close to the house. You can do like one of those really big apple trees over here. Like one of the ones that I have in front of my storage area. Do one of those here. And do a little bit of like the vinery guys over here. So an actual like maybe a wheat garden here. Or maybe like carrots or potatoes. And then we can do the rest of this as maybe a more of keeping to like coconut or maybe some more fruit trees along this area somewhere in all of this. Maybe do another one of those apple trees here. Just to kind of have a little bit of an extra bit over here. I think that definitely gives more interest to this area. With it being not just the lighthouse, it also actually has a purpose besides that. And of course, this structure here, this was originally like a naturally generated thing. I think it had skulls and like redstone and stuff over here originally. Very evil looking, but I think I'm actually just going to use it as a marker for our pathway. Okay, so that will give us all of the pathing over to here. And then, of course, the actual bridge to this area is going to come over here. And then eventually I'm just going to burrow through this and make like a staircase up. That takes care of this end of the island. And then we also have the dock. Now here comes the hard part. I know what I wanted to do on this end. I know what I want to do on this end and what to do on this end. The question is what do I use to fill up this entire space? Excuse my pup if she starts howling again. But I think that I'm just going to convert this area into more of a forested area. to kind of give more separation, because of course I'm going to be trimming this down and slowly expanding into this area as well. Slowly but surely, this entire quadrant of the map is just going to be my builds. The more time I spend in this world, the more I want to convert more and more of it, which ends up with me kind of taking on more than I can bargain for, which is the reason I am slowing myself down with making plans so I can actually visualize what torture I am giving myself. So I think we're going to come to this side with some green wool and just mark off kind of where I want like a nature reserve. I think mainly we're just going to put in some more trees. I want to convert most of this back into grass. We're definitely going to keep some of the beachway down here and just kind of keep some of it. I'm not going to keep all of it. Some of it's going to stay on this island. I'm probably going to get rid of this corner of it though and convert most of that back into grass so that we can just kind of have a more cohesive look. And one other building I have to look into putting on this island is a creeper farm. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put it just yet. I don't know if I want it in this more influential district that's more attached to this, or do I want it in the more ramshackle area? Problem with this is I would have to sink at least one layer of it and then have another layer above the surface in order to make it the right height. I typically try to make these guys 2 layers. You can make them multiple layers and everything else like that. But I think I'm going to try to shoot for mine to be around about 2-3 layers at max. So do I hide it as a crane and sink some layers into the ocean floor? Or do I bring it over here and make it more of a facade building that I did last time? I actually don't know. Although I do like the hourglass shape for a potential crane. But you guys let me know. I'm going to leave both of these up until I get like some feedback on it. I don't know if I want to keep it here or have it down there on that dock. I don't know. The one on the dock is more accurate to the sizing. Of course, it's like uneven, but it's more accurate to the actual sizing that the farm is going to be. So this building is probably going to be a lot bigger. Just I'm trying to do the hourglass shape from memory, and this is more accurate to the actual sizing of it than this one is. But now back to what I was actually supposed to be doing, which is quartering off this. Okay. I had to go back over a bit of it with pink so that you could actually see the line. But I think we're going to keep most of this. Of course, this line is up for debate. I'm just mainly just drawing the line so I can kind of see where I want it. And so I can start converting some area into being grass and stuff like that. But mainly what this place would turn into is a bunch of maybe the larger apple trees, some ancient oak, and maybe even some dark oak. Just kind of like sporadically thrown about. And maybe even throw in a bit of the actual like oak trees and stuff like that from maybe this forest over here bleeding into this area. Just so we can kind of get a little bit of this feel over here. And heck, we may bring in some of the cypress that's over here and bring it over here too. Although I think that's going to be mainly in this more developed area. Okay. Now I know that looks a little bit cluttered. But this is a visualization process. This isn't like... Well, hold on. I can give you guys a better look at this. There we go. Now, I'm putting these basically in sectors. Most of these sectors are going to be done all in one go. So, this sector here is probably going to be done in one go. Then these houses... This is probably going to be done mostly in one go. This is probably going to be a 2-part thing where I do the dock in one episode and then I do all these buildings in another. This is going to be an episode all on its own. This is probably going to be an episode all on its own. Just, I'm trying to divide it up in sectors to pre-plan for what I want to do in a video. And then as I get done with these sectors, we can start marking out new sectors. I'm still wanting to figure out where I want these guys, so these two little sectors are gonna have to wait. But next episode, I can start working on this and figuring out how I want this to look, so we can start working on the sugarcane farm in the maybe in that episode, maybe not. But I know this one is going to be a huge takedown for me. That is going to be all for this episode. That is a whole lot of pre-planning. We have started planning the island. We have finished plotting out this area, which means I can start getting... Well, I need to get rid of this lake first and foremost. And then fill that in. And then maybe just do some pathing that just goes to nowhere out here. And then this is going to be my next plot point. Because I have to get the villager breeder figured out. And then there's all of this area, all of this, the lighthouse area. All of this has been plot pointed out. And then, of course, we still have the wall that I'm going to end up finishing out in this area after I get this figured out. So, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!